Welcome back to A Sight for Sore Eyes. Glad to have you here. I'm Ron, and I'm glad to see you. You know, it's still winter here in Alaska. It's cold out there, and there's a lot of snow on the ground yet. I have piles of snow up next to my garage from when the driveway was plowed. They're still 5 foot high. It's just a lot of snow. As a result, I haven't been going out and photographing too much. I just haven't been in the mood for it. So I've been staying out here in my studio and wasting time on the internet and stuff like that. But I did start working on some of my old cameras that work, but there's problems with it, and I thought, I should just look into those and see what I can do. They're old cameras, and they're just sitting there, so it won't hurt if I mess them up, I guess, a little bit, because I'm not an experienced camera guy, or camera repairer, I guess, and it's not. It is kind of my favorite thing to do, and then it's not, because, I always get them apart, and then I start having problems with them, so it gets frustrating. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. Not taking a lot of pictures, just working on cameras and researching cameras, stuff like that. So one of the cameras I've been working on is this Kodak 35 rangefinder. This camera used to be my dad's, and when he passed away, it belonged to me, I guess. It's a nice, clean old camera, man. It's in good shape. He took good care of it. He had a little canvas bag, Army surplus gas mask bag, I think it was, he had. Anyway, but the problem was this right here, this little ring right here. This is what focuses it, and that's how you focus. You turn this. It's got a rangefinder, little tiny itty bitty rangefinder window that you have to look through there. I don't know if you can see how small that is, but that baby is small. But yeah, this was real tight. This wheel, I mean, it hurt your finger almost. It's got a little geared edge on it, and it's supposed to help you turn it. So I thought I'd see if I couldn't just loosen that up a little bit and use this. I mean, it's usable. So I started on that. I don't have the right tools, of course. I got one little screwdriver that I use to repair my eyeglasses. It's got a little magnetism in the end of it, so that I use that to little teeny bitty screws and lift them out of the camera. I had this tore down quite a ways, actually. I had all these knobs off, this top off, this guy off here, and some other stuff. I had it all off, and I couldn't find any reason for that knob to be so tight. And I had that off too. This was easy to come off. And so I had it off, and I picked it up, and this knob, it was away from the camera, and when I turned that, it just turned free as could be on this without being attached to the lens here. And I thought, well, that's crazy. That it must be in the lens. Maybe I'll just maybe I'll just see how tight that lens is. That, my friends, was a mistake. I turned that lens not even a half inch, and I felt something change. And now I know I shouldn't have turned that. I shouldn't have turned the focusing ring, because now all I can turn it is, well, about 3/4 of an inch, and it stops. So yeah, so it needs to be taken down even further, and plus, when I put it back together, of course I had an extra part, a little washer, butterfly type washer, and I have no idea, that thing just fell out of nowhere. I wasn't even working on the camera, I just tipped it up, like, you know, tip it up or something, and it fell onto the table. I have no idea where that went. So yeah, that was most of a day right there. And then I got it all put back together, and I put the extra part in. I got a little film canister I keep extra parts in, and that's where that butterfly washer is now. And so yeah, now this camera, which was, I could have used it. I could have taken some pictures with it. Now, no, it's not gonna happen. I can't until that's fixed, and these cameras aren't that expensive. I think they run about 40 bucks on the internet, but it's still a nice camera. But so yeah, that was one of my projects. I never learn. I do that almost every time. Also, I'm working on this. This was also my dad's, actually. It's a Konica C35. This guy is almost usable. I think I have to put light seals in it. I looking yesterday, and it looks like it needs some, but the shutter works, and this is the range. This is not a rangefinder. This is just, you focus it by little symbols on the lens right here, where one symbol for infinity, one symbol for 3 or 4 people, one symbol for 2 people, which is the 3 or 4 people says 10 feet, 2 people is 5 feet, and portrait lens, one headshot, 3.5 feet. That's how you focus this guy right here. I've seen pictures, so and Dad took some nice pictures with this, so I think I can do that. I just need to put some light seals in it. Also, the film rewind knob right here, it lost its handle. And I think that's fairly easy fix. So yeah, I'm gonna get this fixed up. This one too is in pretty decent shape, actually, for a camera from the, I think, the late 60s maybe. It's a Konica C35 V model, and yeah, I'm gonna get this guy fixed up, and I'll be using it. I mean, I checked the shutter. Actually, you know what I had to do? It was sticking a little bit, so I dropped a little alcohol on it, and got it cleaned up. Actually, it surprised me. So yeah, that's another one I've been working on. Today's video is about this guy right here, the Nikon EM. This, folks, I have no idea where I got this camera. I just don't have an idea. But anyway, I put new light seals in it, and a few months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, and before I put the light seals in it, I took it out and ran a roll of film through it. And oh man, it had light leaks everywhere, and that's so I set off for a light seal kit, and you know, I put a new one here on the end of the door, and they sent me in the kit. They sent me the ones that they go in. I don't know if you can see it or not, but they go in. There's little grooves here at the top and bottom of that opening, and they sent me just little small little pieces of felt that go in there, and I didn't use those. I used some yarn. I think it's number 4 yarn, and I put that in there, and and boy, that worked pretty good. Another thing that's wrong with this is the meter in it is it's not user friendly. It works. It measures the light, the needle moves just fine. However, when you take a picture, whenever you take the rewind lever and move it that much, it locks whatever exposure it was seeing through the lens, it locks that, and that needle no longer moves. So if you're shooting at some pictures and you get done and you put this down and wind the lever like that, your exposure for the next shot is whatever this lens happened to be pointing at when you wound the rewind lever. So I'm pretty sure that's not factory right there. And so that makes it really tough, because in order to use it, you have to look through it, and when you get your whatever you want to take a picture of, when it's in your viewfinder, and then you have to wind it. You wind the film like that, and that locks the exposure at your scene, and then you can just take the picture like that. But it's so ingrained on me from my film days that right after I take a picture, I immediately wind that. I can't stop myself from doing that. And boy, that makes it real tough. And I have another idea for this camera, but I don't know. Anyway, and that's also the viewfinder screen that is up in here, and it is nasty. I can barely focus with it, the split image on it. So that needs to be replaced. I went to KEH yesterday on the internet, and they had one of these cameras, the body, for sale for $12.95 as is. I couldn't turn that down, folks. I couldn't turn it down at all. So I ordered that little camera. Hopefully, it's still got a good viewfinder screen. That's what I'm hoping for at a minimum. If I was lucky when I got it, if I was really lucky, it would be in better shape than this camera. This camera looks almost new. I mean, I wish I could remember where I got it at. It was sitting on the table, and my wife accused me of buying a new camera. That's how I knew it looks. She thought I went and ordered one. Would I do that? Heck no. No. Anyway, it's in good shape. I wish I could get it so everything worked. But if the one from KEH comes and it's got a good meter that works and a good viewfinder that I can actually use to focus with, that would be okay. But if it's just got the good viewfinder screen, I'll use that. It's easy to replace. That was easy to replace. So, and if that's all it has, then I have another use for this camera that I'm really kind of excited to try it. This other idea I have for this camera. Anyway, enough of that. So I went out yesterday to check this. Sorry, I rambled on there a whole lot, didn't I? I went out yesterday. I got my truck and I went out, and because of the new light sills, I was going to check it and make sure, everything's okay. And I got in my truck, and it's cold out there, and it took me half an hour to get my truck warm enough. And so I went out there, I got in the truck, and I put my little camera in there with me, and I drove out, and I drove about 3 miles and got discouraged because it wasn't encouraging to think about getting out and taking pictures. It's still outside. You can't get off the roads unless you got snowshoes. Basically, you can't walk in the snow too far. Anyway, so I turned around, came home, and ended up. I was sitting in the house, and it was a blue sky day yesterday, finally, and I was looking around, and there's some really nice sunlight coming through the windows. And I thought, I'm just looking for light seal leaks. I don't need anything fancy. And there's good light here in the house. So I walked around the house for about an hour, chasing the shadows on things on the wall and taking pictures. And I shot up a whole row of, what did I have? Arista Ultra 100 ASA ISO. And I shot up a roll of that black and white film, developed it, and this morning I came out and scanned the negatives, and here's what I got. We're gonna look at those pictures right now. Hope you enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed those. They weren't too special, but like I said, I was just looking for light leaks in the camera, and you know what? I didn't have any light leaks, and that part of the negatives looked really good. I was real happy with that. The exposure part, not so happy. I had my negatives were everywhere between clear and solid black. It was kind of funny, but I'll work on it. I'll work on my technique with this a little bit. I did manage to get those 16. I think there were 16 of those pictures there, and those were, those came out pretty good. Some of them were overexposed and some of them were underexposed, and there's a couple that's pretty close to right exposure. Not many though. Anyway, it was fun actually just walking around the house the light was just moving really quickly. Up here the sun moves pretty fast, and so the light on the walls and everything was moving pretty quick. I didn't really have that much time to do some shooting. I wish I'd have thought about that a little bit quicker, but anyway, I took those, and the film developing went pretty good, finally. Anyway, so that's where those pictures came from, and I hope you enjoyed them. Now, of course, I selected one of those pictures and made a print of it. It's like normal, it's on 13 by 19 paper. The image size is 12 by 18, and this is the Epson cold press natural paper. And so, of course, the image I selected was of my grandkids. What else? And you've seen it on there. These My wife has these pictures. I took all these pictures. I made portraits of them. Oh, this has been quite a while ago. But my wife has them displayed inside of a case, a display case actually. And it's got glass in the front of it. And I just shot through the glass. I didn't mind the reflections, and that's what the lines and odd things you see on there is the glass reflections. And I kind of like that picture. It came out really nice. And so that's all 6 of my grandkids. And I thought this would make a nice print, and it did. It made a real nice print. I think that would be worth hanging. I don't know. I'm going to put it in my collection though. So yeah, Epson paper, Epson printer, and Epson ink. So there you go. I'm going to put that right down here on my little stack of things. And that's about all I have today. I rambled on quite a bit there in the first part of this video. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, that's what we got for today, and I'm going to close it here, and you guys stay safe. Stay real safe. I hope it's not winter where you're at. Hopefully another 2 months it'll be spring here. I don't know. You guys stay safe. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye.